Boom! We're gonna start off with a little WrestleMania talking points, and just really quickly, some of the things that came up. I figure we talking about it. I'll talk about them here at the beginning because I do feel like these talking points will affect how we felt about some of these matches before night one and night two. So before we get into the actual matches, just really quickly, let's talk about some of the wrestling talking points, some of the conversational pieces, so to speak, that came out all over the internet, all over the world about this event. And the one that I hear the most, the number one hashtag, has to go to the commercials and the ads. Everyone seems to be in a tizzy. I saw one meme, and maybe this is true. I don't know. I saw both events, and I still don't know that Hulk Hogan was the number one pushed performer on the actual show. Apparently, they played this commercial 1,000 times. The documentary is coming, boys. Documentary is coming, boys. Documentary is coming, boys. Somebody had made the statement that after years of growing up watching WrestleMania and being a Hulkamaniac, he felt he saw more of Hogan at 42 than he did in any other WrestleMania ever in the past. That there were a lot of commercials and a lot of ads, and I'll pass it to you in a second, but I would like to open up this conversation about the ads by saying I didn't even fucking notice. It didn't even factor into my viewing. I have been trained through the years of not just wrestling, but as an 80s baby, I have been trained to tune out ads my whole life. If I'm watching the TV show, I'm watching the TV show. As soon as the ad starts, my brain has a timer. I go off. I do something else. As soon as I hear that my program is coming back on, I sit down and watch my program. I watch wrestling the same exact way. I watch the matches or the segments or whatever they're doing. It goes to commercial. I disappear. I hear that it's coming back. I come back. I don't even know what the fucking commercials are. But apparently I'm surrounded in a world by people who watched every millisecond of this 3.5 to 4 hour programming, and they are in a tizzy. Far too many commercials, far too many ads. Did the commercials and ads interrupt your viewing of WrestleMania?
So here's the problem.
Okay.
My experience was a little different.
Okay.
Because I was a little ripped. I don't know if you heard that.
Yeah.
But I was pretty drunk by the time it started. So I didn't really realize the commercials too much. I heard people saying that there was a lot of advertisements and commercials, but listen, I sat down, I had a beer, I went to commercial, I would assume. Then I got up and got another one or got food. So I was not paying attention to them at all. Not to say that they weren't a lot. I just personally didn't notice them.
Now we know why you got drunk. Because your brain said every time they go to break, get up and grab a beer. And they had so many breaks, you had so many beers.
I got fucked up. Yeah, I was fucked up. Fucked up. No, it wasn't really that bad. I don't know, dude. Unless it's like shots, I don't get that fucked up. No, I was fine. I was fine. I was drunk, but I wasn't like, I don't know. Even my wife was like, "Are you okay?" I'm like yeah, she's like, "You drink a lot of beers, dude." I had 2 of these 25s, and I believe I had 10 Coronas throughout that day.
God. Throughout the progressive evening, right?
Well, dude, they were chained. They were back to back. It got to the point where I didn't even realize I finished. I went to go get a drink and it was empty. So I went and fucking grabbed it.
He said,
dude,
what's this?
We were perfect. So for people like me who are absolutely destroyed, the pacing was amazing. But then again, we've already talked. People don't drink anymore.
Yeah,
people don't drink anymore. So their pacing is a little off. That's all it is. If my pacing, I was good.
For everybody who doesn't drink anymore, if you want to avoid ads and you want to avoid commercials, use your time wiser. I don't know what to tell you.
Listen, but I could imagine if you're sitting there dolo, kind of just watching it, trying to enjoy some wrestling. that probably felt like a lot. But I really didn't notice it until you pointed it out, or until someone else pointed it out. I'm like, oh, you know what? There was quite a bit of commercials, but I don't know.
In
I think
retrospect,
I'm used to it now. You know what I mean?
But that's what I'm saying.
We went from a world with no commercial. Well, we went from a world full of commercials to a brief moment of no commercials.
Yeah.
Back to a phase of more commercials.
And I feel like the people who are complaining are the ones who were born in that small window where we didn't have it, where they grew and they assimilated. Because now we live in a world where the commercials are optional, right? So when we grew up as kids and we were watching television, it was commercial. Unless you had HBO or like a cable network channel, you didn't really get commercial interruption breaks. But for the most part, everything had commercial ads. Everything had.
Remember pay-per-views back in the day? One of the cool selling points of it was no ads. You're buying the pay-per-view and you're watching the whole thing like a movie. You're not getting chopped up now, and that's what YouTube, the internet, when it first started to happen, shit like that, that's kind of what it was. Like, you didn't have ads. Every once in a while on a web page, you'd have the little banners on the side, but whatever, dude, right? You can scroll right past that. Now, listen, you can get the subscription for free, but you about to catch all these ads, boy, to face.
Yep. Even if it's so funny. I heard people who were streaming who were using like not nefarious means to watch the event and still complained about the commercials. I'm like, bro.
Well, that doesn't surprise me.
It's like, come on, bro. You're not. I got a subscription. I can complain. You can't complain, bro. Like, you get what you pay for. You know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, you're not gonna pay.
They paid for the internet.
Hopefully. If they're not getting their neighbor's Wi-Fi.
That's true.
So one of the talking points, obviously, commercials. People were very upset that there were so many ads, so many commercials. As Lex told me earlier, as he was talking to me about tonight's show, he called it commercial mania. Everybody was talking about the commercial part. Another aspect, and I feel like this is more 50-50. I felt like a lot of people were complaining about the commercials. The reaction to this is more 50-50, but the length of matches was a big concern for a lot of people. We pointed that out
while we were watching it. We were like, holy fuck, these things are moving.
Yeah, you and Steph, I didn't even notice the speed. You and Steph were clocking it because I was just like, I don't even feel it. Like, I don't understand
I felt it the second Jey Uso came out, when the Usos came out.
What? Because you felt like that entrance was rushed.
They came straight out. The moment one of the longest entrances in the business right now walks straight to the ring, I knew we were on the clock, buddy. We were on the clock. No run it back. None of that shit. Get in the ring. Let's get started.
So just really quickly, like for instance, as an example, night one, that 6-man tag, 7 minutes, 8 seconds. The unsanctioned match, 14 minutes. The fatal 4-way was only 8 minutes. The fatal 4-way, that's 4 teams trying to figure out their shit for 8 minutes. Becky and AJ, 8 minutes. Gunther and Rollins, 17 minutes, which is, I think on the live show, we were like, oh, that's an easy 30, right? Or we'll take 25 or something like that. They're like, these guys are just going to go. 17 minutes. And then we have Liv Morgan, the one that everyone's talking about. This is the killer here. Liv and Steph, 7 minutes. And then Cody and Randy, 22 minutes. It's a main event match. It'll get more time. Oba, Femi, and Brock, just about 5 minutes, which we didn't know it would be short. The ladder match, 15 minutes. Trick and Sammy only got 7 minutes. Balor and Dominic, 10 minutes. Rhea and Jade, 10 minutes. And Roman and Punk with a cool, crisp 33, my guy. They gonna take their time. You know what I'm saying? They gonna take their time.
You ain't rushing Roman.
Yeah, or Punk for that matter. Those two egos are not gonna let that happen. So what are your thoughts on that? Two, not enough wrestling. Maybe some of these matches could have had more. Is it right on the money? Like, where do you land on that?
If I'm being completely honest with you, relooking at some of the times here, I would adjust a few minutes here and there for a match or two. But if we had to shave time, maybe it was for the ads, who knows? But if we did have to shave time, whoever booked the timing, I think I will give them about an 8 or 9 out of 10 when it comes to like which matches should have dragged on, which matches needed to end a little bit earlier if we're trying to save time. The only one I probably would have put a little bit more time on was maybe like the Stephanie match, maybe pull a little bit from Jacob, Fatu and McIntyre.
So
a little bit, not too much though.
Let me add
good.
a speck of new information to the Liv Stephanie match, because obviously people were highly anticipated match amongst a lot of people. They were expecting something more for the build that it had, and 7 minutes for a lot of people just didn't seem enough. So there has been some people discussing the ideology that the WWE didn't actually want this match to go very long because both of them seemingly were still feeling injuries and effects for that build. There was a lot of bumps and bruises between the two of them. They didn't want them to go too overboard. That's what I heard Monday going into Raw. But then Liv had a match with the debuting Sol Roca on Monday that lasted either equal to or maybe even longer than the night before. So scratch that. That couldn't be it. So there goes that. So I have no idea, no reason. If it was my call, I probably would have given that one a little bit. I wasn't into it, but I think that one deserved a little more.
I would have minus like 3 minutes off of Drew and Jacob and would have just gave 3 more minutes to Steph and Liv. Other than that, I think we're solid.
Yeah.
That's me nitpicking. Honestly, I don't care where it landed. I think it's fine.
Yeah. I actually liked the idea that some of these matches were in and out. Like, we don't need to sit here and drag ass all day. You know, if you guys want to see 20, 30-minute matches for every match for the next 14 matches, you got to go across the street for that.
Yeah, that women's tag team match, I think, went 2 minutes too long, if you're asking me.
And they went, what was it, 8 minutes? They went about 8 or 9 minutes.
8 minutes. Yeah.
Woo! I'm hoping that's including entrances, but yeah. So that was another one of the talking points that people came up with. Oh, the matches didn't last long enough. Look, listen, folks. I don't know how many times the WWE needs to tell you to your fucking face. They're an entertainment company. The wrestling is almost accidental. You know, it just kind of gets in the way of, you know, they'd rather do promos and angles and commercials, obviously promotional shit. The matches, they're not really worried about the matches.
If you want my honest truth, I think each match could have got a little bit more. Each match could have got a little bit more time if they took 2 matches out of each card. No, I'm sorry. Take 2 matches out of the first night and maybe a match out the second one.
You know, it's funny.
I like the pacing of the lower match live events. I do. I like the 4 matches. Give the crowd who bought tickets some recordings, dark matches when they're there. But when you're coming on TV, I like the 4, and they even added a segment or 2 in here as well. Let's not forget that. There was a Danhausen segment in there.
Yeah.
There was a few talking points in between the matches that could have been gone as well, or keep them, but get rid of a match or 2. I could have done without a match or 2 on each night to just kind of make it a little bit more, each match feel just a little bit more important.
Right. And to your point, I'm going to look this up right now, actually, because this might be a solid thing that you just said. The last couple of pay-per-views, right? Actually, let's not even do we don't even need to do pay-per-views. You could do the last Saturday night's main event. And that show had a runtime, if I could find it here. It doesn't have the runtime, but that match that show only had 3 matches on it. 13 minutes, 21 minutes, and 17 minutes. The Rumble's different because it's the Rumble, and the Chamber is different because it's the Rumble. But they've been running this 4-match, 5-match, 6-match card format for a while, and they haven't changed a lot of time. There's still 3 hours, 3.5 hours with 4, 5, 6 matches. And those matches tend to go 10, 12, 14
Mhm.
minutes. And so for WrestleMania, when they did WrestleMania, I'll pull it back here. It looks, to your point, like this kind of shows evidence to me that they kind of have an allotted time in their head for how much wrestling they want. Because there's no, if you had 5 matches in this amount of time, and then you added 2 more matches, but still stayed within this amount of time, it appears to me that this is the amount of time that you want wrestling for. It's almost like they said to themselves, no, we're getting the ads in, and we're getting the commercials in, and we're getting the segments in. So if we want to add more matches, and we want to add more people to the card, y'all gonna have to squeeze that shit the fuck in. Y'all gonna have to compress that shit because we already have a format. That's what it's starting to feel like. Because now seeing this, I want to go back to the 5 now.
Yeah, I mean, dude, it's like it's basically a pizza pie, dude. You get a pizza pie, you got the same amount of pizza. I don't know if you've ever gotten those places, or I think it's by request, that like does mad little slices to try to make it so like more people. It don't matter. It could be the best pizza in the world, bro. You give me a pizza slice no bigger than this, that shit is ass. It's just not good. I've had one. Work jobs usually do it. You kind of like thin out the pizza a little bit more and stretch it. That shit is whack. So essentially the same idea, man. They know how much wrestling they have. Obviously, they know how much promotion time they need. They know what they need for commercials. They got this shit down. So if we're gonna put 7 matches on night 1, those slices are gonna be a lot smaller, and it doesn't matter what flippity flips and shit you do. It's just not gonna feel good. It's gonna feel rushed. It doesn't matter.
Flippity flips.
Doesn't matter.
So there's a talking point that I forgot to mention to you before we went on the air. It just popped into my head now, because the other talking point is, obviously, as with every wrestling show, not everybody was excited for the winners. There were some winners where people were like, oh, that doesn't make any sense. Or, oh, why would you do that? Or, oh, I'm so sick of seeing that, right? Well, it just so happens how timing works itself out. Mark Shapiro, who is the president of TKO, was doing an interview recently where he was stating that TKO is actually the entity in charge of the creative. Triple H is there overseeing things, but essentially what TKO wants, TKO gets. There is no discussion. It's just, hey, Hunter, we're doing this now. And Triple H has to kind of make that work. So for everybody who was saying, well, Pat McAfee doesn't make sense, you're absolutely right. It doesn't make sense. But now we know why it was done and why some of the winners that were chosen, because it's not entirely all of the booking committee, the people who are making matches and getting the talent together, who are making the end result decisions. So the last 2 years, a lot of criticism towards The Rock. People thought, well, The Rock's coming in and it's messing up all of WrestleMania's plans and da-da-da-da-da. No Rock this year, and yet still someone with their fingers in the pot. And now we have a face to put to the issue, and that's Mr. Shapiro and the folks over at TKO. For the consciousness of the people who are watching WWE moving forward, this is what's happening. This is what it's going to be moving forward. So if you're one of the individuals that did not like this show, and it's 100% okay for you to have not liked this show. Don't let me or anybody else tell you any different. You didn't like it, you didn't like it. But at the very least, maybe it's time to start thinking about whether or not you're going to commit to WWE moving forward, because this is what it is. Mark Shapiro went out there and told everybody, we're in charge of this programming and we're in charge of this company. He's there to make it make sense, but he's there to do what we want him to do. He is relaying the messages. He is the liaison between the top brass and the grunts and workers. And that's his fucking job. So if you're sitting at home saying to yourself, oh my God, why would Triple H do this? Why would Triple H do that? I'm not completely absolving him. I don't know specifically which decisions he made.
Well, he is driving the bus, so he's gonna get. If I tell you, for instance, use the the commercials for an example. You got a budget of this much wrestling and this much advertising.
Make it work.
Go,
Yeah.
right? So I do agree with you where it's like, damn, Triple H could have given us more wrestling if it were up to him, but
Maybe
he still
yeah.
was allowed to give us what he gave us. You know what I mean?
Right.
So we can't completely. I know you said you're not. I'm just saying, just to piggyback what you said, we cannot take it off of him just because of it, because it is. He gave you 3 colors to paint with, but you are still the artist, and you still have to give me something. So
yes, that's why I say I'm not absolving him completely of everything that went down. I just think that it needs to be said that it's clear that he's not the only one involved with the process. That
he's
there are other. He's. It appears that he's got some handcuffs on him when he's doing some of the stuff that he's doing. So, last talking point before we get into the nights, we got to talk about the cell phone situation. CM Punk, Bailey, AJ Lee, they were in a hotel lobby. I heard stories stemming from that situation from Drew McIntyre, from a number of WWE superstars and fans that were all, because Las Vegas, as you know, is just one big ass strip, right? So everyone's on top of each other. Everyone's looking and seeing each other all the time. And there were a lot of people, both fan and people who work for the company, who had complaints about security in Las Vegas. That people were in places they weren't supposed to be. There were people harassing other people. It was a whole deal. If you haven't seen the situation, there was a fan who happened to be at a hotel lobby where CM Punk, AJ Lee were staying. Bailey and AJ Lee were in the lobby having a discussion together when all of a sudden this fan came up and just basically put a phone like right there in their fucking face. It tried to get fucking footage of him. They were shooing him away. He wouldn't respond. Eventually Punk got pissed as he saw it happening. He walks over to the guy. He smacks the phone out of his hand and starts yelling at him. They're going back and forth. It's a whole ordeal. Finally, some security measures come up and they walk away. There's no actual physical altercation with the exception of the slap of the phone. This dickhead, the fan, then takes the cell phone, sells the footage to TMZ, and actually makes the statement out loud. Hey, man, I'm not going to sue. I don't want to put him in jail. I just want an apology and a handshake.
Well, hold on. He got some bread, though. How much do you think he sold it to TMZ for?
Which is a whole nother issue. We're not going to get into it now, but I've heard a lot of people doing that now, where they get a little bit of footage and immediately run to TMZ. It's like cash for ass over here. They're just giving this shit away to these people.
There's no way you got a bag for that. Like,
no, come on. For cell phone footage like that, I don't know what the hell he got, but it wasn't enough to hoover himself on the goddamn internet about it. That's for goddamn sure. This motherfucker has the balls to go on. I'm not going to put him in jail. I'm not going to put who in jail? Put who in jail, my guy? You're not putting nobody in fucking jail. Come on, dude. I'm not trying to get him fired. You're going to fire CM Punk because of you? Bro, relax yourself. Get the fuck out of here. And you know what's funny? We can't sit here and say wrestling fans suck. A lot of wrestling fans
people suck. We can walk right past that. People suck.
A lot of wrestling fans were like, this guy's a piece of shit. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like this guy, he went in there. Yes. He went in there looking for a quick buck. For sure. For sure.
Or he just saw an opportunity and went for it.
No, but by now, after all these years, if you're a wrestling fan, you know that Punk has a hair trigger. If he did that, he's probably pissed he didn't get decked. He's probably pissed he didn't get punched.
Doesn't Bailey have previous situations with weird shit like that?
They all do, but yeah,
I'm sure they do. Bailey, One I can remember, Bailey has a
Rhea Ripley had some situations.
He's with my wife.
Yeah.
And 3, I'm looking for a reason. So
yeah, he's always looking
all for those together. He's from Chicago. He wants to use his hands. He has no problem with that at all.
He's had conversations with higher ups in WWE about the temper in the past because he's quick. He doesn't listen. He's 0 to 100. 0 to 100. If you're gonna wait for him,
don't record my wife, dude. That's if I'm him. Don't record my wife, dude. I will
I
slap
made
the fuck.
I made the post on I made the post on Facebook. I said, listen, if my wife and I and a friend are sharing an intimate moment at a hotel, you come up to us with a cell phone and put it in my face, I'm slapping the phone and I'm slapping you.
He's
Punk's a
lucky
better
he
man than
smacked
me.
the phone because I
Yeah.
would have tried to smack him.
Yeah,
Now,
exactly.
smart on Punk.
Yeah.
You're gonna have less issues hitting a phone than you are hitting the fan. So he did a good
far
job.
less issues.
He
Yeah.
is not
And
bitched for
apparently,
that, but still.
apparently he didn't break the phone because the phone was in working order. In order for him to give the footage to TMZ, the phone had to
He
work.
had it protected. It was cased up. He knew what he was doing.
Cased up. He got that outer box on there, baby. He
Yeah,
got that outer box on there.
Screen protector. You know what I'm saying?
That phone was Punk proof. But it was a small altercation, but it leads to a bigger conversation of you have to. I get upset when I hear that. Well, they're celebrities. They got to get over that. No, you need to be less of a dickhead. You need to be less of a bitch in your life. That's what that is. I have no issue with fans. I've done shows where people get a little, especially if they've been drinking. Shit is said, shit is done. We all understand. It's part of the game. We get that. But there's lines and there's levels to this, and that is extreme. And we said it here on this show when we had the topic of conversation. We just recently brought up all of these situations that the women in the WWE have been going through with stalkers and the Liv Morgan getting her arm yanked during her entrance and Rhea Ripley being mobbed, getting into a taxi cab. Y'all have got to do something about these women in WWE, man. They're fucking targets for these weirdos, bro. These goofies that are just walking around doing stupid shit. You've got to absolutely positively keep your fucking head on a goddamn swivel, man. So I think we've laid out some of these points. We talked about the ads. We talked about the winners and losers. We talked about a lot of stuff that influenced how this event was perceived.